Hey y'all, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you with another reset vlog, and this will be my reset vlog for December, which is really crazy. I kind of can't believe that I am saying that. I can't believe that this year is already at an end. I have done a couple of reset vlogs in the past, and I'll be honest, I actually do think they really helped keep me on track, and they really helped me kind of focus my intentions and my plans for videos in the month ahead. So I'm hopeful that this can really help me as we kind of gear up for end of year content. Now, I'm not someone who normally puts up best and worst of the year in the middle of December, let's say. There are a lot of booktubers who kind of cap their end of year in November, and they use December as just a month of all of this sort of end of year content. In previous years, I have tried to wait until January, but I think the past couple of years, it's wound up being for me the last week of the year. And I kind of post all of my videos back to back to back, one right after another. And I kind of enjoy that. I think that's really fun. And it kind of keeps me on track. I think if you wait until January, there's the possibility that you wait a little bit too late to post it, and then you're kind of past the point of everyone caring about end of year stats. So I have a couple of things that I have to do in terms of planning out videos for the end of the year. I also just in general don't really know what content is going to look like in December. I'm really not someone who reads a lot for Christmas or who reads a lot of Christmas-themed books. So that's not really something that I have to plan around. But I do have some books that are kind of on my TBR, so I thought we could explore a December TBR just a bit in this vlog. I don't typically post TBRs, and I actually don't typically do TBRs. But in a way, I kind of talk about books that I'm currently excited about, and in a way that functions for me as a TBR. But I really do want to kind of stick to a list of books this month, just because there are a few series that I would really like to get finished out. There are things that I would like to see completed by the end of the year. So I have a few series that I have maybe 1 or 2 books left in, and those I think are going to be my highest priorities in December. December is an interesting month because I think I want to read a lot, and a lot of reading technically really can't get done because over the past few years, and definitely since the pandemic, my family has gotten together on days that weren't Christmas Day. And so the weekends prior to Christmas have also been very booked and busy in terms of doing a lot of things. And my free time actually from work, we kind of close between Christmas and New Year's. And so that's where a lot of my free time is. And that's kind of when I will plan to film the majority of my end of year content. It's always a shame though, because I feel like that's a great time to read, but I also don't necessarily feel like books that I read that week, and really in general, even just the books that I read in December, are ever wrapped up anywhere or are ever included on best of lists, because I kind of feel like that's recency bias. So I really just kind of want to plan out the month here. The month is very blank. Now, my birthday is in December, so I'm kind of excited. There are also other holiday things going on. At this point in time, I just don't actually know what day they are going to occur on. And there's other things that you want to do, like just for you, just things that you like to bake and stuff like that. And so I kind of also feel like I need to schedule that. That doesn't necessarily have to be done in this vlog, but I am filming this with a little bit of time left in November, which is really great because I have to say something that I'm proud of myself for in November was just how much pre-filming got done, which is insane to me because I spent at least the first week of November completely wiped out by being sick. And not only did I pre-film, I also managed to post more. So content this month has been a little bit slower. That's always the case when we come down off of Victober. I think there are a lot of people who only watch, I mean, not just my videos, but basically only engage with booktube during that readathon and during that month out of the year. And so there's always a lull as we go into November where content kind of falls off quite a bit for me. That used to be quite concerning to me, but now I just know that's kind of how things go once Victober is over. I think some people just don't really engage with the platform when it is not during that readathon. So I'm not really sweating that too much. But I haven't done a lot of themed content this month, and I also feel like I haven't done that many reading vlogs. And I think reading vlogs are kind of the most fun to me at this time of year because they're so festive. So the time in which I'm filming this, we're kind of mid to late November, and Thanksgiving has not happened yet for me. So I am already considering getting out Christmas stuff. I'm kind of shocked at how fast Thanksgiving crept up on me this year, though there was a period of time when I was sick, like I said, where I truly don't know that I was conscious of the passage of time in any way. So it makes sense that it's kind of flown by to me. But every year I also really want to get decorated for Christmas early. And I also tend to want to get decorated for fall early, particularly in my bookshelf areas, because if I want to pre-film, I want the decorations to be up. I want to be festive. So I think what I'm going to do for next year, it's a little bit late to help me at this point for this year, but I really want to put stuff that would go on my bookshelves and go in book areas. That needs to be in an area completely separate from other Christmas decorations that you wouldn't get out until maybe the weekend of Thanksgiving. I'll be real with y'all, November 1st started the Christmas season for me this year. I just don't care anymore. I really have been a November Christmas girly all along, and now I'm not ashamed of it. So that might be something that we kind of cover in this vlog, is taking down, sadly, some of the fall stuff. It's been really hectic, and so in a way, we've never really put up the storage for the fall things. So that might make our job a little bit easier, but we typically do 2 Christmas trees now, one kind of in this craft area behind you, and the big one, the Big Daddy. And it's just a lot to put up 2 Christmas trees in one weekend. So I think over the next couple of days, the goal will be to put up the one that's up here. So that will be fun. Maybe I'll include that in this vlog, but basically in this reset vlog, I want to think about content for the future, particularly for December. I kind of am open, which is great. December content can also be hit or miss. December is just a really busy month for everyone, and a lot of content creators are doing Vlogmas. I will never be able to do that. I respect it, but I'll never be able to do it. So I feel like if I don't get out 2 videos every week, I'm really not going to stress about it. But I really would like to prioritize reading vlogs. So I thought I would show you kind of my TBR for the month, the books that I am really hoping to get to, because this is really crunch time. This really is the end of the year. We have about 5 or 6 weeks before the end of the year. It is truly crazy. And those 5 or 6 weeks are guaranteed to be busy. So I don't necessarily know what the future holds in terms of reading, but I have big plans. I also want to start thinking about semi-content for the new year. And that's exciting to me. I've already got my planners for the next year, and I can show those to you. It feels very early to me to be talking about planners for 2024, but I'm telling you, people who are actual planner girlies, they have this stuff in mind from like July, August, October mainly. You start to see videos pop up. So I'm actually very late to this, but I've got my planners, I think, for the next year. I'm excited, so we can start putting in ideas there, but there are things that I fully intended to do that I knew once Victober hit, it's over. October, November, December, those are kind of themed reading months for me. November isn't so much. It's kind of sandwiched between 2 big reading months, December, where you want to finish everything, and Victober, where you kind of want to read the Victorian literature, but it's also in general October, so you want to read horror, you want to read for Halloween. So I feel like November can be kind of free, but this year and last year I did some traveling in October, and I wanted to post travel vlogs, and I think that took up a lot of space in November for me this year, which was great. I really needed it since I had been sick. I really did not have the brain capacity to even think about other video ideas. So that really worked out for me to have something to put up. But there were things that I really wanted to film before Victober kicked off that I never got around to for a wide variety of reasons. September went off the rails for me too. September was actually incredibly busy. And so I didn't get around to filming a bookshelf tour. I also wanted to get shelves for my bookshelves upstairs. And that was part of what I planned to do in this vlog. I thought I was going to go get the shelves cut last week, just never got around to it. And so I feel like those are going to be projects that I do in the new year. I'm just going to hold off, I think, on the bookshelf tour until I get those shelves installed and move things around up there. It's getting kind of frantic there. I think you've seen I posted a book haul recently. There were a lot of books and there certainly wasn't room for them on my TBR shelf. So I talked about in, I think, my last reset vlog, just using the top of all of the shelves as an extra shelf on them. And I am definitely going to do that. But I think I'm going to wait to do it until after I have the shelves cut and in place for the bottom of them. So we'll see. They definitely need to be cleaned up a bit. I think we'll go up there next and I can tell you all about my TBR. Yes, I know that I said I was going to take you upstairs and we were going to talk about the TBR first. But there's still a lot about my TBR that I feel like is up in the air. I know there are a couple of things for certain, and it's fine if it's a short TBR because in fact that's probably better. That means I'll likely achieve it. But I just thought I would wait until I knew, until I had my thoughts together. But we can do that after this. Sadly, I am about to take down this fall stuff. I'm thinking that tonight might run around, might go to Hobby Lobby, might go into Walmart, the World Market, kind of see what they have going on. It's not that I feel like I need anything right here. I feel like this shelf has remained the same over the past couple of years because I wound up getting some great garland that I really, really like. But my shelves upstairs, now that I have 4 shelves, I still have some Christmas stuff, but it's just not a lot. It's not enough to really decorate those. And so I'm kind of trying to think about what I want to do up there. I don't think that I want to indulge and get any garland up there. I just feel like that would be a lot. And it would really be kind of tedious to put all of that up just to take it down in a month or so. So I just want some things that I can kind of sit around that make that area a little bit more festive since I have been filming up there more. But I'm getting ready to take down this gorgeous garland, all my pumpkins and everything like that. And I am in fact going to put them in a separate space so that I think I will know where they are, and it won't mean getting out all of the fall stuff when you're not necessarily ready for it. I remember, I think it was last year, I was pre-filming for stuff in September and actually even stuff for Victober. And so I actually felt like I needed to have done up my bookshelf in August, and I just didn't do it because the stuff was buried in with everything else. And of course, to me, August is not really the time to get out all of your pumpkins. So this is going to be the project for right now. And then we can finally talk about video ideas for the month, and we can talk about my TBR. Sad day as we have taken down all of the pumpkins, and actually they just look really pretty sitting in this basket. But I am going to keep this basket actually, I think, in my closet so I can go on and pull it down early next year if that's what I want to do, if I want to make sure that this already looks kind of fall. This was kind of minimal in terms of decoration for fall, in my opinion, but I did already have some stuff. I just wanted to make sure that I kept it in the same theme, and that's my goal with Christmas. My goal with Christmas is going to be to keep it in this same color family, which is still kind of light pink, kind of moving almost into a burgundy realm, kind of a darker pink, because I already have some stuff from a couple of years ago. I have this dough bowl up here, which you can barely see, and at this point, I don't necessarily feel the need to switch it out and make it Christmassy because my ultimate goal is to put books all along this upper shelf. I don't necessarily think that would get done before Christmas, so maybe I will, but I think it'll be fun to kind of plop some ornaments around. And I know I said I was thinking probably no garland up here, but since I feel like the fall decorations were just a little bit sparse, but it was enough. It was enough to feel like this area was a little bit festive. I think, though, I might try to incorporate some garland because there's probably a lot of garland I can get that's a little bit more neutral or more pastel than what I am thinking of. Like fall, no matter what, I feel like you were dealing with real fall colors, which just is not the vibe of this space whatsoever. But I feel like Christmas, I could get something more neutral or even in kind of the realm of something flocked, so it would look a little bit more snowy. I'm going to keep my options open for that. I don't know if you can see him, but I got this little horse when I was in Sicily, and it's a handmade horse. I don't know what he's made of, but he's really heavy and he's absolutely precious. And I really don't actually know where I'm going to put him, but for the time being, he's just sitting over here. So I need to find a better place for him. But I feel successful because all of the fall stuff is down, not just in these bookshelf areas, but actually all over the house. We went ahead and took down all of the fall stuff so we can now move ahead with Christmas. So that's exciting. And that's basically what I really wanted to get achieved in this reset vlog. So now we can get into the fun stuff, the bookish stuff. And so I thought we would come up here and we could talk about what is going to be on my TBR this month. The goal is to try to keep it manageable, but also to keep it flexible because I kind of am thinking that I might want to read a Christmas romance. I know that that sounds crazy, but this has been a little bit of a year of romance for me. I feel like I have really gotten into adult romance. So I think if I'm ever going to like a Christmas romance, this is probably the year to try it because apparently I'm very open to that genre right now. But I also kind of want something a little bit in the more spooky realm. If you have any kind of spooky or ghostly Christmas book recommendations, I'm really open to it because that's kind of what I want. I feel like there are certain Nutcracker retellings that I really like because they kind of get into that eerie side. So I want something more in that realm. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be Christmassy. If it's just winter, I want books that feel really cold. So I don't necessarily know what I have on my TBR. It has been really nice to have a true TBR shelf because I think it's kind of kept me in line, but it's also kind of told me just how little I have in some regards. I know to a lot of people this will be extravagant, especially if you're not a mood reader. I feel like people who can just stick to a plan and say what they're going to read in a month, those people don't ever have an overwhelming TBR. But people like me, people who are mood readers, we like to have a lot of options because we don't necessarily know what our mood is going to be. And having a designated TBR shelf has actually helped me understand where I have gaps in my TBR and what I kind of want to fill in. So that's been really interesting. But I do have a few books that are incredibly high priorities for me going into the end of the year. The first of these is The Brothers Karamazov. I'm over halfway through this, so I feel like this has to be a very high priority. And I knew it would be dangerous starting it at this time of year when I was starting to get into a busier time frame, and reading a lot just isn't going to happen. So I feel like I'm kind of in danger of letting this one fall by the wayside. So I'm going to try my best to make a concerted effort to really finish this one out. I think this has to be one of the top priorities before the end of the year, but it might be a book I set down for now and come back to in kind of the back half of the month or there towards the very end of the year, just in case I decide I really do want to do some themed Christmassy or even just more wintry reading. I feel like I am going to put this one on pause, but I'm definitely going to try to get to it before the end of the year. We also have Letters to Milena by Franz Kafka, which I have started reading. So these two books are books that I'm in the middle of, and I kind of feel like they should be easy wins because I have already started them. But this has also been slow going in a similar way to The Brothers Karamazov. This is a collection of letters, and I feel like when I finish a letter, I'm just not really that inspired to go on, if that makes sense. The Brothers Karamazov is kind of the same way. I'm struggling with that in some ways because there are some things I think that book has done really well, and there are some things I think the book has not done well. And in this case, It's interesting because there's just clearly an ending point every couple of pages. And historically, I've always read stuff like this, like a collection of letters, kind of piecemeal here and there. And so this may be something that kind of carries throughout the season of winter, but it's definitely on my December TBR. And I was trying to get a good ways into it this month just because it is nonfiction November. And I thought it would be kind of fun to incorporate something that is nonfiction, but is not necessarily what I typically think of picking up during nonfiction November. So these two are the books that I am currently in the middle of that I would really like to finish. We then have Jade Legacy. This is the big deal. This is really the one that I want to see finished. This is the high priority to me, just in general, is to finish out series. And I feel like the Greenbone Saga should be an easy one because I just have this book left and then it's over. Part of me dreads finishing it because I think in an objective sense, this series has to be the best of the books that I've read all year. Just in terms of craft, in terms of characterization, there's really nothing I would improve on here. To me, these are masterpieces. So I feel like I have just kind of avoided finishing the trilogy because I know that I'm going to be depressed when it's over. This is also really, really long. But I think this is the one I'm going to say is probably at the top of my TBR because this would mean I was finishing out a series and a series that I have really truly loved. So I feel like this is also kind of a guaranteed win. It's kind of a 5-star prediction and I feel like it's definitely going to get that from me. So I don't really know why I keep putting this off, but I feel like I really want to see this finished by the end of the year. We also have the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I feel like this is something that can be achieved. It will mean rereading the first book and then reading the second and the third, but none of these books are particularly long, so I feel like this is something that can be done, but I'm probably going to want to do it back to back. I'm going to want to plow through this series 1, 2, 3, but I really don't think any one of these books is over 350 pages. So what I might do is plan to do a 24-hour readathon sometime in December, but just kind of do a 24-hour readathon that goes throughout a week, that I don't have to be married to trying to do it in a 24-hour period or just over the weekend. I can just set the timer and read when I can. And I feel like that will help me get through this series. I definitely want to see this done by the end of the year because I feel like these will be some of my favorites of the year as well. And akin to Jade Legacy, I feel like this is an easy win. This is a guaranteed 5-star series for me just because I know I love Stephanie Garber. So this is definitely a high priority. I think Jade Legacy and this series are going to be my top priorities going forward, even above the books that I'm in the middle of, quite frankly, because I really do think it will feel good to actually complete something. So that's going to be my ultimate goal, is to finish out these two series. I did have big dreams of maybe doing Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare in that series, but those are really, really long, and I just don't think I can do it because that's also going to require rereading the first book and then moving into books 2 and 3. So I don't necessarily think I can get that done by the end of the year. I would certainly say that's probably a winter priority for me. Winter is just a really great fantasy time for me, but I feel like these two series are ones that I can actually finish. So these are going to be the two series that my goal is to get them done before the end of the year. So I'm going to cap it at just these two series. I'm not going to add anything else to this unless it is on Kindle. I'm not really going to talk about any Kindle books that I feel like I want to get through here just because that's so up in the air. And also, since they don't take up space on a shelf, Kindle books don't necessarily bother me when they go unread for a long period of time. I just am more at risk of probably forgetting about them, so that's something that I should probably take into account. But I've been doing a lot of Kindle reading recently, so I do kind of want to switch back over and try to read some things that are on my physical TBR. Last but not least, the last thing that I'm going to throw on my December TBR is Penance by Eliza Clark. I feel like this is a good 5 or 6 books here that I am intending to finish this month, and that's probably all that is really doable. I feel like this is so totally different from anything else that's on my TBR or what I'm currently reading classics and fantasy, I feel like this will be a nice break from those. So I definitely wanted to incorporate something that I felt was a little bit different. And this was a really highly anticipated release for me. So that's basically why I feel like I want to get to this one very soon. I want to read it while I'm still really, really excited about it. So this is the last thing that I'm going to say is on my TBR this month. Otherwise, I do want to try to be flexible just in case I do want to get into Christmas reading. I feel like I'll try at least one or two. Last year I read some Christmas mysteries and that was really fun. That really did help me get into the spirit a little bit. So this year I would like to do something kind of similar, but I might try some Christmas romances. So if you have any recommendations, I would love to hear those down below. Next, we can talk about planners for next year and video ideas for the month, which I think I might go on and slot into these planners, especially if I have video ideas that I think I would just kind of wait on and do in the new year anyway. So these are my planners for the new year. I'm really excited about them. So I will take you down to the desk area and we could finish out this reset vlog by planning out some content. Okay, we are at my desk area, so we can go over some video ideas, but I thought that y'all might also want to look through these planners with me. I have not looked through them since I got them, actually. So there's a mini planner and kind of a more regular sized planner, which I guess is not really fitting in frame. I'll zoom you out. And they are both daily planners, which is kind of my preferred style. I really, really like that. And I know you're thinking, Jenny, aren't you using currently a weekly planner? Yes, and actually that has been far more manageable and also more useful to me, quite frankly, here in the back half of the year. But it's been a very busy second half of the year, so that was kind of a good change, actually. But I got both of these, of course, because they are the same. I got them in Italy. You may say, isn't this going to be Danish? I got this at Flying Tiger Copenhagen, which is a Danish store, but since it was in Italy, the diary is actually in Italian. So I got a desk calendar from them a few years ago that I think was for 2020, believe it or not. My gosh, time is flying. But that's how I learned the months in Italian, so it was really, really useful. But this smaller one, I am once again thinking that maybe I do two separate things for booktube, one thing for booktube and one for everything else. We'll see how long that lasts. But I also just really like the idea of having somewhere to write some things down. See, this is going to help me with my Italian vocabulary. So this is also a daily calendar, and it's just perfect. Here's really their monthly outlook, which is not useful. So that is something I do have to think about, is that I'm going to have to try to find a way to like tape in a monthly outlook, because that's of real value to me. But I absolutely love, love, love that they have the steps and the water and how you were feeling that day and also the weather. Absolutely obsessed. But down here, they also kind of have a monthly outlook for the current month and then the next month, which I think is really, really nice, actually. These were extremely, extremely cheap because they were from Tiger. Anybody who's been to a Flying Tiger knows that they are probably what you might consider a junk store, but that's why I absolutely love them. It does come with a ribbon, which I just think is great. I don't know, I'm obsessed with this. The funny thing is they do have like a zipper in the back, which is kind of nice if you have stickers or something. I don't know that that's going to be something that I do regularly, but that is the smaller one, which I think is really cute and might be my reading journal. I know I've said in the past, I don't really want a true reading journal because I've never stuck to them in the past, but I'm kind of feeling inspired after seeing a lot of different booktubers. So we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, this did really get damaged on the way home because I just had to kind of shove it in where I could in the suitcase, and this really got damaged. The bigger one has just about the same layout, but it's a little bit different because look, this has the hourly layout for the day, which is also of real value to me, and I really, really like setting up the days like that because that's helpful for me at work, basically. But I also love down here, like you can have a daily objective. They also are telling you up here at the top, like what week it is. Then you can kind of tick off some things. Maybe you have a top 5 tasks for the day, but you also have a blank area, which I think is kind of great. And that's what I've been doing with my current planner. is I've had kind of a blank area at the top, and I've used that to talk about what I'm currently watching, what I'm currently reading, everything like that. And so I've really enjoyed that. As you can see, when I bought this, I paid €7, so that's all this was. So I'm going with these because, first of all, they're cute. I love Tiger. Tiger is my favorite store in the entire world. It honestly is. And they're also Italian, which I think is great. They're kind of a great little souvenir, and I just love to use planners as kind of memory keeping things. So these are not anything kind of standardized. I tried the Hobonichi system this year, and I'll be real with you, it did not work for me. I think it was very hard to keep up with, and they became unwieldy the more stuff was in there. So I'm going to try to keep this very minimal just so it doesn't get so bulky. But I'm going to use these and possibly go on and set them up over the next couple of weeks to get some ideas down for content for the new year. But I thought we could plan some content for December. I just got these new memo pads, and my current planner is at work. So I thought we could write these things down on my memo pad, and I'll just stick them in. What are y'all feeling? Are y'all feeling strawberries, which are kind of my obsession? Or are we feeling the battery? I mean, I feel like it has to be the battery because look at her. She's so cute. For December, we have some things that we know we have to do, right? We have to do our best of the year and our worst of the year. And I was just doing some looking, and I actually have read more Christmas books than what I thought. So I think it might actually be great and kind of fun to do a Christmas book recommendations video. And a couple of years ago, I did a video that I really, really liked and was apparently very popular, shockingly enough. So it was a video where I listed some of the authors that I had really gotten into that year, new authors to me that I was really excited about and that I thought had the potential to become new favorites. And so I feel like I want to do that again this year. So maybe a new favorite author video, because I've actually done really well this year when I have read something that I enjoyed by a new author. I have kind of immediately gone back and read some of their backlist. So I feel like I have more than a few options for this. So we have 4 options here. Best and worst of the year is not going to go up until the very end of the year. But Christmas book recs, new favorite authors, even though new favorite authors might kind of be an end of year stats thing, I'm going to say it could go up at any point in the month. But then I also have been reading some great nonfiction, so I definitely want to do another nonfiction recommendations video because I think everyone also really enjoyed that. I did that during the summer, and that video really took off in an interesting way. So I've read a bunch of varied nonfiction this month. I think I'll also do a November wrap-up, actually. And I'm just writing this down, even though I probably won't forget about it, just because I want to know how many videos there will be to kind of mark it up on the calendar. I have not been doing wrap-ups in recent months, and I kind of regret it on the one hand. On the other hand, I don't really see the need to do a wrap-up when I have been vlogging as much as I have, and this month I really haven't vlogged as much, so I feel like this is actually a good month to do a wrap-up. So now we have 6. I feel like that's a good number because there's definitely going to be reading vlogs in there. I think, though, since I mentioned it earlier, I'm going to write it down to have a 24-hour reading vlog, and that doesn't necessarily have to be over a 24-hour period, certainly, but it also doesn't really have to be married to any particular time. I can just start the timer and do that throughout the week. I've done that before, and I think that was actually a healthier way to do a 24-hour reading vlog. So I think I'm going to write that down as an option, but I'm definitely going to have more regular reading vlogs throughout the season. This is my favorite season to do reading vlogs just because they're so festive and people are cooking and everything. So I feel like this is a good current list of videos. I would love to know down below if you have any requests for content or if you have any video ideas, particularly for this last month of the year. But even going forward, I thought about making a list with y'all right now of video ideas I have that I just don't think are going to go up by the end of the year, but they're going to be, I think, pretty flexible. I'm just going to keep those secret for the time being, but one of them you already know, which is a bookshelf tour and basically redoing the bookshelves. So that will definitely be coming, but it'll be coming in the new year. So that is going to be all for me for this reset vlog. I actually do feel like these really keep me organized, And it also seems like y'all really like them. So that is going to be all from me today. I hope that you really enjoyed this. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with me. But that's going to be all for me today. I hope you're all having a great week. Happy reading. Goodbye.